Friends, in this class we will study the important insects occurring on groundnut and their IPM recommended throughout the country. Groundnut is one important oilseed crop which is consumed in large quantity within the country. Because of its higher consumption, we are importing even today the oil from abroad. So, there is a major need to increase the production and productivity of oil seeds, in particular the production or the productivity of groundnut crop itself. Groundnut is grown both in kharif under rain-fed situations and under irrigated situations during summer season. So, insects continue to harbor in both the situations, that is in kharif as well as in summer situation also. We will try to list down first the important pests occurring on groundnut. I have grouped them into defoliators, sucking pests and root and pod feeders. Coming to defoliators, large number of economically important insects are there. Among them, the foremost important pest is a leaf miner, which is scientifically referred as Aproerma modicella, which occurs both during kharif as well as summer season. Here the larvae is the damaging stage. It mines into the leaflets in the early stage and forms brown patches on the leaf, which you can very clearly see here. Later on, the same larvae, after second instar, it webs the leaves together and then feeds on the chlorophyll content inside, resulting in a burnt up appearance from a distance, as if you feel the whole plant is burnt. So, that much appearance it gives because of its nature of damage. The next important pest is a tobacco caterpillar, Spodoptera leptura, which is a polyphagous pest, which is more common in kharif season. Here the eggs are laid in mass always, and immediately after hatching they feed in a gregarious form unitedly by staying in one place. This will happen for about 3 to 5 days. Later on they migrate. When they start migrating, they cause small holes on the leaf, and sometimes the damage is so much only petioles are left. So, that much will be the intensity, thereby the total plant is killed. Next in the series is a BR hairy caterpillar, Spilosoma obliqua, belonging to a Lepidopterous insect. Again, this is also a polyphagous pest. This also lays its egg in a mass, particularly the young larvae for first few days they feed by staying on the undersurface of the leaf, and later on when the grown up larvae they start migrating and cause total defoliation to the plant. Again, only stems are left in some severe incident situations. Then gram pod borer, you all know that Helicoverpa armigera, which is a polyphagous pest. Groundnut is also one of the important host. The larvae is the damaging stage, it feeds on the foliage, prefers to feed on the flowers and buds. When tender buds are attacked, we find on the leaf the symmetrical opening whenever it opens. Then we have another polyphagous pest, red hairy caterpillar, which is referred as Amsecta albistriga. Again, here also the egg laying is in mass, what you are seeing here. The young larvae feeds on gregariously by staying in one place for about 3 to 5 days. Later on, the grown up larvae starts migrating, and particularly the 4th and 5th instar stages are voracious feeders. They defoliate the entire crop as if a cattle has been grazed. That is the appearance of the incidence of this particular insect. They feed on everything, leaves, flowers and the growing plants on the plant. Then the second group is the sucking pest. In that aphids, again a very specific insect, Aphis crassivora belonging to Aphidae. They usually suck the sap from the young leaves, leaf buds and flowers. Because of desapping, the growth of the plant is affected, stunting and distortion is normally seen, and these aphids also secrete honeydew on which sooty mold develops, which affects the photosynthesis of the plant, thereby the growth of the plant. In addition to this direct damage, these aphids also transmit a virus disease known as peanut stripe virus and a groundnut rosette virus. These are the two viruses which are transmitted by aphid. Then we have the thrips complex. We find more than one species, Ceratothrips, Frankniella thrips and Caliothrips. More than one species may coexist in some situations. The typical damage symptoms are yellowish green patches on the upper surface of the leaf with brown necrotic areas, and whenever somebody touches it, it is silvery sheen and hard surface, and these infestations they coalesce, the entire whole leaf dries up in the later stage. All these three species transmit the deadly virus disease peanut bud necrosis. You can see the clear cut symptoms in the early stage, which even extends to the growing tip here, which is totally killed here, and the whole plant by the side of an healthy plant, you can see the entire plant is killed by this particular vector. Then the next important sucking pest is leaf hopper, Empavasca, different species are involved. Again here also both nymphs and adults, they inject toxin into the leaf and also the veins. Because of this we find chlorotic patches on the leaf tips, and it gives an yellow color. Very typically you can observe them in the groundnut field, resulting in a hopper burn symptom. Then the next group of insects include root and pod feeders. In that, white grub is one of the important seasonal pest, usually occurring during Kharif season. We have two species, Holotricha consanguinea and Holotricha serrata. Here the grub is the damaging stage. They mainly feed on the roots and damaged pods also. Even because of damage to roots, the whole plants will be drying, and then when pulled they come out easily. Then we have termite, another important pest, Odontotermis and Microtermis species. This termite is a problem particularly in a rain fed situation whenever there is a failure of rain, resulting in wilting of plants because of the workers feeding on the roots, and then they also bore into the pods and damage the seeds in case of severe incidents. Then in isolated areas as a sporadic pest, we find jewel beetle, Spinoptera species, particularly in Tamil Nadu. This is a major problem during Rabi season, that is during November, December season. Here, because of the adults as well as the grubs, both are the damaging stage, they cause wilting of the plants because of their feeding to the roots, and grubs burrow into the stem also, resulting in total death of the whole plant. The infested fields show dead and drying plants. When pulled again, they also come out easily, and the stem contains the insect stages. In some situations, we find the severe incidence of wireworms, false wireworms and earwigs, particularly during Kharif season whenever there is a failure of rain. Coming to the IPM of these important insect pests, a series of technologies have been recommended throughout the country, and first among those is the cultural practices, use of particularly the trap crop. Trap crops such as soybean or cowpea for leaf miner, and then castor, Spodoptera insect can be used as a broader crop, or mixing with the groundnut seed can also be used. Then second cultural practice is growing of tall crops, particularly bajra, sorghum or maize all along the border, mainly to reduce the movement of the thrips, because thrips, in addition to direct damage, they are also vectors, particularly the peanut bud necrosis virus. Then another important and very simple and economic technology is use of vegetative trapping, particularly for red hairy caterpillar, that is using these Jatropha twigs or Calotropis twigs, which when placed in the groundnut field, the 4th and 5th instar larvae are very much attracted to these trapped plants, and they first feed on this, and large number of larvae are located on this. So, they can be mechanically destroyed. Similarly, the neem plant which can be used as a trapping device for adults, adults after the first rain they emerge out from the soil and they prefer to feed on the neem leaves. So, this behavioral response can be used in the IPM technology. Then the use of mechanical control. Now, majority of the insects that I listed as defoliators include the polyphagous pests, particularly the Spodoptera, Spilosoma, red hairy caterpillar. They all lay eggs in groups, particularly on the, as I said, in the broader leaves, and such leaves when searched you get egg masses which can be collected and then destroyed. Not only that, the early instar larvae when they are feeding unitedly for the first 3 to 5 days, because of their united feeding we find skeletonization on the leaf. Such leaves can be identified and then they can be destroyed mechanically. Even the grown up larvae which can be seen very clearly in the field situation can also be collected and then they can be destroyed. Another method is putting up of bird perches about 10 to 12 per acre. The predaceous birds feed on these grown up larvae also. Then another technology is use of behavior modifying and also the botanical pesticides and also biological control. Setting up of pheromone traps, almost 10 traps per hectares for Spodoptera or and also for Helicoverpa, 25 traps for leaf miner or even light trap will help in identifying the peak abundance of the adults of these polyphagous insects. Then secondly, spraying of botanical insecticides, neem seed kernel extract or commercial neem formulations are also available, they can also be used, or neem oil at the rate of 5 ml mixed with a detergent neem powder about 1 gram per liter of water, so that better dispersion will be there in water, can be very effectively used against defoliators and sucking pests. Then microbial insecticides is also recommended, particularly for Spodoptera NPV or Helicoverpa NPV, both at the dosage of 250 LE per hectare, or even commercially available Bacillus thuringiensis insecticide is also available, which can also be very effectively used at 1 gram per liter against Spodoptera and Helicoverpa. In high humidity conditions, a fungal pathogen is also available commercially. Pneumonia reli can also be very effectively used for Spodoptera management. One of the important component of IPM is use of ETL technology. Economic threshold level is most important for the effective application of pesticides. Otherwise, the cost of application of insecticide will not benefit the applicator. So, at various levels the economic threshold levels have been worked out for different insects. For leaf miner it is 5 mines per plant on 30 days. With age of the crop increase, the number of larvae also increases from 5 to 15 mines per plant at 55 days. For Spodoptera and other defoliators, it is 20 to 25% of the defoliation, particularly during 40 days after sowing. Then for leaf hoppers, 5 to 10 adults per plant after 1 month of sowing. Then for thrips, 5 adults on the terminal bud becomes the economic threshold level. Then the chemical control is one of the important component. I said a lot of insecticides have been listed for defoliators, leaf miners. Similarly, for sucking pests also, seed treatment with imidacloprid is found to be highly effective. Then spray formulation is also recommended, particularly in endemic areas for white grub management. Seed treatment with chlorpyrifos is one of the best treatment that has been recommended by various organizations across the country. And then Central Insecticide Board has listed various insecticides on groundnut crop use. So, these are the list of insecticides against which pest it works and what is the recommended dosage, also everything has been given in this table. There are no varieties particularly released against the various insects in case of groundnut, but some of the varieties which are high yielding, having some added advantage of tolerance to some of the pests have been recommended. In Kharif also they have listed series of varieties which are released having some sort of resistance. The ones which I have indicated with red are showing high degree of resistance, for example, Kadri 8 and of late Kadri 9 is also been released. They are highly tolerant to bud necrosis virus disease. Similarly, during Rabi summer also quite a number of varieties have been recommended across the country for using it in the IPM package. So, all these technologies can be very effectively integrated to get higher yield with maximum net profit to the farmers. Thank you.